So, today I want to talk to you all about two interrelated themes. First is the importance of believing in our students. I'm an educator, it's an educational institution, and the power we hold as educators to influence student success. Those are the two themes. And related to those themes, I would like to share some stories, some of my personal experiences, and really the insights I gained through these experiences. So, my first story is about a student's struggle and her perseverance in a developmental education math class. So this happened about, I was trying to remember, it's a long time ago. I was new to teaching, new to community college teaching. I'd say about 16, 17 years ago. As a full-time faculty here and teaching math 045. So my question here is, anybody math teaching here? Anybody education and math? Okay, well, for those who may not be aware, let me provide you a little bit more context. Up until a few years ago, all students entering Triton College had to take placement tests. And based on their placement test results, they'll get placed into math and English courses. And actually recently found out that we don't require placement testing anymore. It's one of the measures to place students, I just found out. And it's not required for everybody to take the placement test. So that's a great thing. That's a great thing. But back then we had that requirement, and we used to offer 3 levels of developmental education math courses, and they were all required. So as you can imagine, if someone gets placed in the lowest level, which is a math 045, it could take them up to 3 semesters to ever get into the first college level math course. This was the situation back then. And these situations and developmental math requirements, placement testing requirements were not just unique to Triton, but very true, actually happening with other colleges too, other two-year institutions. And this was really the impetus for all of the developmental education reforms we've seen in the last 2 to 3 years. We've condensed those 3 Dev Ed math courses to one, and really focusing our efforts more on providing something called co-requisite math courses. So this is your college level courses. Students are placed into this course, and depending on the support they need with basic math skills, they're given that in that course itself. So that's a great thing. We've made great efforts in that direction. So getting back to my story, I'm teaching this math 045 class, the first level in basic math class. On the first day, a student came to me, explained her situation. She was a single mother working 2 jobs, and did not have time or money to waste on those potentially 3 basic math courses that she would have to take. So she said, I'm planning to retake the placement test. If you could do that, you could prepare, you could review again, and you can get placed out of that. So that's what her target was. And she explained that. I said, absolutely, I sympathize with her situation. And I said, don't want you to fall behind. So while I understand, I'll support you if you need any help, but please continue to attend my class, just in case. So several weeks passed. I could still see her coming to my class. She was doing well. Everything was going great. I did not ask her about placement test, because supposedly it was supposed to happen in a few weeks. Few weeks before the final, I noticed that she started missing her classes, and checked the grades. They were also falling. So I emailed her, sent her a quick email just to check in on her. Did not get a response right away. A few days passed. Then I received the email response back from her, and she mentioned that she wasn't able to place out of math. She took the placement test. She wasn't able to place out of it. And that she felt very disheartened by this experience, very low. She said she does not want to continue in my class anymore, as she's now falling behind in my class as well. She missed classes. So I quickly responded to her email, and I told her that I didn't want her to give up, that her passing the class is still very possible if she comes to my remaining classes. I told her, let's talk. Come to the next class. We'll talk afterwards. And I knew at that instance that I needed to talk to her one-on-one, that I might be able to change her mind if we just have that conversation. So she came the next day, great. We talked after the class, and I looked in her eyes. I said, don't give up. I know you're very capable of passing the class. So let's work together. Now that it's getting close to the final, my goal was to review the whole content. We would have gone through the whole content. We would put time in, practicing, and that she could still pass the class. And I think at that moment, that's all she needed to hear, and one-on-one from me, that I trust her, that she could pass. She could pass the class. So she came to all my remaining classes. She puts her effort. She puts come to all my conference hours too, and she ended up passing the class. I was excited about this success and about her. And this is just one of those stories. I've had similar situation that taught for a long time, stories like this happen. But this one, for some reason, stayed with me over the years. This is also my initial years, right? Teaching, learning. I'm not really sure why this was so special to me. I would like to think that I made a difference. But I also sometimes think about what could have happened, what would have happened to the student if I had not, or no one had reached out to her. Anybody could have, but what would have happened? She clearly was capable. She had the ability to succeed. But because she lost all her confidence in herself, because of that situation, she was ready to leave it all. This is math of 45, right? Ready to leave it all. But she was persistent. So this experience made me realize that as teachers, I'm trying to understand my role. We're not there only to impart our content knowledge or subject knowledge, in my case, math, but we're also teaching our students about resilience, perseverance, and many other life skills that are needed, right? That goes beyond our content. As one of my colleagues said, for many of our students, their teachers are all they have, nor they'll ever meet. So we must be ready to play multiple roles in our life. Not only a teacher, but you could be their counselor. You change roles, you mentor, your advisor, right? So this and other stories like this also made me realize our students don't need a whole lot from us. Just a few words of encouragement. The feeling that someone genuinely cares about their success is all they need sometimes to persevere. Small acts, small gestures may not take a lot of effort from us. A quick conversation, a quick check-in email can sometimes make the biggest difference. So that was my first learning from one of my initial years from teaching. My second story is I want to tell you a little bit about my own struggle when I was younger and the experience that changed my whole outlook on education, specifically math education, and my professional trajectory. So I started my career in math, Shikina mentioned, but I did not always enjoy math. In fact, I was not at all good in my elementary years. I was scared of math. During those years, I never thought I could do math. I would often hear other kids around me saying it's hard, it's tough, right? When you're young, your view is completely based on what you're hearing around you, right? Childhood is an impressionable age. By age 10 or 11, I got it ingrained in my head. It's tough, never going to get it. Just like everybody else says, forget it. I still remember in my 5th grade final exam, I did really poorly and I felt extremely ashamed about it. Like, how can I hide this score from my parents and everybody else about it? Okay, I'm never going to talk about it. But 6th grade, my middle school was a turning point for me. And I attribute that to my 6th grade, this amazing math teacher. This is a Women's History Month, so I want to mention that this teacher was also a woman, strong woman. Her name was Miss Sheila. I don't know if you'll maybe see that video one day. Extremely, extremely passionate about teaching, about her subject. And you could see her enthusiasm and energy. And I still remember when I was young, I still remember. She walks into the room and there's so much energy in the classroom. You know, students are ready to learn math. And her strategy was to get her students to like it. Not that they just get good grades and pass the class. How can you make them fun, make it fun? So I still remember, as I'm noting down my notes, and she'll make it fun through games. And that was the only teacher I found like her. None of my other teachers were like her. So from the first day, I could tell that she wanted me and other kids at that age, 6th grade, to be successful. She would repeat a concept as many times as needed. as we understood it. These are, again, elementary years, so learning how to solve an equation. So the logic had to kick in. Why do we do certain things, right? So little by little in sixth grade, I started to do better. And at the end of sixth grade, something just clicked in my brain as if a switch went on, as a logic made sense. I felt that I got it. And the first test I did good on, I still remember feeling on cloud nine. I can't stop talking to her about that math test. And after sixth grade, there was so much sense. I just started to like it. There's no stopping me. By high school, I was actually tutoring algebra and geometry concepts to my neighborhood kids, my peers. And I truly enjoyed teaching back then. I was like, this is fun. I think I can get to someone's head. I can teach it. After high school, I decided to continue studying higher math. I did my Bachelor's of Science in a program that combined in India physics, chemistry, math, so STEM field. I completed my Master of Science in pure math. Don't ask me what got me interested in abstract math, but I loved it, playing with numbers, logic. After I came here to Chicago, I decided to pursue a second master's degree, which was in math also, but combined with information science for industry. It was a new program at that time in University of Illinois, Chicago. I wanted to try it. I said, industry. Well, maybe industry might be for me. I don't know, an exploring career. I was still thinking about teaching. Well, after some deliberation and trying out an 8-month internship at a market research firm, I decided to take on community college teaching as my career. It's like, I think this is for me. And that's not for me. I found teaching to be extremely satisfying and rewarding. Even after I began teaching, I've often used to think about my sixth grade math teacher, Ms. Sheila. As I'm teaching different topics, different subjects, there are hard concepts that you had to make sure that your students understand. And I would think, how would she broach that subject? Like there's calculus, there's finite math. How would she broach that subject? And I tried to adopt many of her teaching techniques in my own teaching. Right? I made sure I don't give up and my students don't give up. While I'm not teaching anymore, as you know, I'm in administration, I still feel very close to teaching because I'm close to teachers. In my current profession of faculty development, educational development, I ensure or try my best to make sure that faculty have the resources and the tools to make the best teacher in them. They know the techniques and they are ready to explore it. So that's a little story about my own personal experience. And I want to conclude. I hope in these stories you can see the power we hold as educators and the important role we play in shaping our students' minds. And I can tell you that if we believe in our student, my personal experience, what happened to me and the 12 years of teaching I did, we show that we trust them, and we provide a little bit of encouragement, and that feeling of genuine care that they will rise to the occasion. Thank you so much for listening to me.